Sociologists have a term for the spaces where we exist outside of home and work. They call them third places, the physical, informal hubs where people gather, running to neighbors, and build a sense of community. Over the last decade, keeping these physical hubs alive became nearly impossible. A brutal combination of soaring rent, expensive labor, and the friction-free convenience of online retail steadily emptied them out and boarded them up. The disappearance of these local hangouts carries a measurable toll. In 2023, the U.S. Surgeon General issued a formal warning, stating that a lack of social connection increases the risk of premature death by 29%. That is a mortality risk on par with smoking. Faced with an increasingly isolated physical world, young people adapted. According to recent Pew Research data, nearly half of all teenagers in the United States report being online almost constantly. Humans are communal animals by design. We require interaction to function. So if the physical gathering spots are gone, where exactly is an entire generation going to find their tribe? They didn't stop socializing. They just packed up and moved. They migrated into massive, chaotic digital arenas that most adults rarely ever look at. This chart compares the daily average hours Generation Z and Alpha spend on major platforms. TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube draw massive engagement, but Roblox sits at the very top. These users are spending an average of 2.7 hours a day inside this ecosystem. Inside that ecosystem, the culture is deeply specific. Take a user-created game called Steal a Brain Rot. The entire premise relies on players breaking into each other's digital bases to capture characters based on bizarre, viral internet memes. Millions of people are logging in to chase these memes, and 40% of that player base is under 12 years old. And that volume of traffic surges frequently. 7.4 million concurrent users in a single weekend. These massive user counts transform a digital space into a high-density virtual city. Maintaining that volume of activity requires infrastructure far more robust than standard web architecture. Computer scientists call this the thundering herd problem, millions of users trying to connect at the exact same millisecond. Traditional servers buckle. Rather than wait queues, Roblox evaluates 4 billion join combinations every second, instantly distributing connections to the nearest regional data centers. To stay ahead of the herd, their engineering teams run a strict predictive capacity cycle. Every Friday, they preemptively spin up virtual cloud edge data centers to absorb the massive spikes in traffic expected over the weekend. That specific preparation is how an independent creator's game update was able to pull in 21 million players in an instant without crashing the system. Frictionless, invisible engineering has to be there. Without it, these massive, interconnected digital societies would simply collapse under their own weight. Outside observers are noticing this migration. For years, major corporations poured resources into standalone websites and apps to capture youth attention, but those efforts are largely failing. Instead of trying to pull teenagers to an isolated corporate site, successful brands are bringing their operations directly into the user-generated spaces where the youth already gather. Last year, more than 600 brand campaigns launched inside Roblox. They found that building an integration inside an already established game attracts twice the player traffic compared to launching a standalone branded experience. Healthcare organizations are making the exact same pivot. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute recently launched their Love Your Mind campaign directly on the platform. Knowing that 76% of youth play video games, mental health experts designed in-game obstacle courses, or obbies. These spaces actively teach coping mechanisms to players as they navigate the physical challenges of the game. To protect the emotional well-being of the teenagers using these resources, the developers hard-coded strict safety mechanics. Cross-user chat is completely disabled, and all gameplay is entirely anonymous. The drive for community migrated from physical malls and arcades directly into this digital infrastructure. While these spaces lack physical proximity, they serve as the primary arena for social life, an environment where the adult world now has to adapt to the screen rather than fighting it.